Hello everybody, this is operations with polynomials, but there's a lot of little pieces to that, and if you're wondering, well, why are we doing 6 lessons in one? I mean, this is all middle school stuff. It's just kind of review of it. I can add polynomials by combining like terms. I can subtract polynomials using from comes first and distributing the negative. I can multiply using the box method. An application of that is squaring binomials, also using the box method. I can divide a polynomial by a monomial by dividing everything on top by the bottom. And I can find profit using profit equals revenue minus cost. So I'm not going to go through every single little thing here. I'm going to jump right to from comes first. What is the result when 5m squared plus 3m minus 1 is subtracted from 7m squared minus 5m plus 1? Well, what if I said, what is the result when 3 is subtracted from 8? Well, here's my question to you. When 3 is subtracted from 8, is that 3 minus 8, or is that 8 minus 3? What is the result when 3 is subtracted from 8? It's 8 minus 3. From comes first. Whichever number is associated with the from comes first. So I'm going to rewrite this. Let's just get rid of this now. Let's keep that. Let's get rid of this and this. Since from comes first, I'm going to write it as 7m squared minus 5m plus 1 minus 5m squared plus 3m minus 1. Now, whenever I'm subtracting polynomials, I need to distribute the negative. So I keep the first polynomial. Negative times positive 5m is negative 5m squared. Negative times positive 3m is minus 3m. Negative times negative 1 is positive 1. Now I combine like terms. 7m squared and negative 5m squared is 2m squared. Negative 5m and negative 3m is negative 8m. Positive 1 and positive 1 is positive 2. So when you're subtracting, from comes first. So from 7m squared, so the 7m squared minus 5m plus 1 comes first. And then to subtract, I distribute the negative, and I combine like terms. So let's jump to division. Whenever I am dividing, I'm dividing everything on top by what's on the bottom. So in the previous lesson, we went over dividing monomials. So I divide the coefficients. 12 divided by 2 is 6. X to the 3 minus 1 is 2. Let's just get a little messy there. I've got, so that's that. Negative 6x squared divided by positive 2x. Well, negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. X to the 2 minus 1 is 1, or just x. Positive 2x divided by positive 2x. Well, 2 divided by 2 is 1. X divided by x is 1 plus 1. When I'm dividing, I divide everything on top by what's on bottom. Let's just skip right ahead to number 11. To multiply, no, we can go back, I guess, to number 9. Whenever I have something in front of parentheses, I distribute. So this is kind of multiplying monomials here. And again, in the previous lesson, when I'm multiplying, I multiply the coefficients and I add the exponents. So it'll be negative 3x squared, because 1 plus 1 is 2. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12x. Negative 2x times x is negative 2x squared. Negative 2x times positive 3 is negative 6x. And similar to what we just did, I now combine like terms. Negative 3x squared and negative 2x squared is negative 5x squared. Positive 12x and minus 6x is plus 6x. That will bring us to number 11. Now I'm multiplying a binomial by a binomial, and to do that, we use the box method. So since it's two terms and two terms, I make a box that's 2 by 2, x minus 4, x plus 6, and each cell I'm multiplying the corresponding terms. So this cell right here would be x times x, which is x squared. This cell right here is negative 4 times x, which is negative 4x. This cell is positive 6 times x is positive 6x. And this cell is negative 4 times positive 6, which is negative 24. Now that I did that, I combine like terms. My like terms will always be diagonal from each other. So the x squared just comes down. When I'm combining like terms, I'm adding. Positive 6 and negative 4 is positive 2x minus 24. That's your answer. Let's do a 3 by 2 now. Again, I'm multiplying polynomials, so I do my box method. And since it's 3 terms times 2 terms, my box is 3 by 2. X squared plus 2x minus 4, x plus 3. X times x squared is x to the third. X times 2x is 2x squared. Again, this all builds on operations with monomials. If you can't do that, you can't do this. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Now when I go to combine my like terms, I have two pairs of like terms that are diagonal from each other. So the x to the third comes down. 3x squared and 2x squared is 5x squared. 6x and negative 4x is positive 2x. And the minus 12 has nothing to combine with, so it just comes down. And that would be your answer. A very, very, very important application, probably what you're going to see more so in this course other than what we just did. This is more Algebra 1, but what you will see incorporated into other bigger problems is this right here, a binomial squared. Well, what does squared mean? Squared means times itself. So to do m plus 7 squared, that's m plus 7 times m plus 7. And to do m plus 7 times m plus 7, to multiply polynomials, I do box method. M plus 7, m plus 7. M and m is m squared, plus 7m, plus 7m, plus 49. Then I combine my like terms. 7m and 7m is 14m, plus 49. So whenever you're squaring a binomial, squared means times itself. We write it twice. We do our box method. And there's one more application of operations with polynomials, which comes up in the Regents system, coming up more and more recently, actually, is profit. I'm not going to get into a whole lesson on profit, but profit equals revenue minus cost. If you buy lollipops to sell in school, and your cost is $10 to go to Costco and buy a box of lollipops, and you sell them, the amount you make from selling them is called your revenue, and let's say that's $30, then your profit, the amount of money you made, would be your revenue, 30, minus your cost, 10, which would be 20. Profit is always revenue minus cost. So as far as polynomials go, in fact, I'm not going to do this question. I'm going to do this question right here. Stone Manufacturing has developed a cost model, C of X. So this is your cost. The sales price can be modeled by S of X equals, which means that the revenue is R of X equals X times S of X. That's your revenue. And it's even telling you profit R of X minus C of X, or revenue minus cost. So P of X equals R of X minus C of X. P of X equals, so R of X is X times S of X, which is 95.5. 4 minus 6x minus cost is 0.18x to the third plus 0.02x squared plus 4x plus 180. And now it's just operations with monomials. We distribute the x, distribute the negative. That gives me 95.4x minus 6x squared minus 0.18x to the third minus 0.02x squared minus 4x. That squared is not pretty. Minus 180. And then we combine like terms. Negative 0.18x cubed. I've got negative 0.02x squared, negative 6x squared. That's negative 6.02x squared. Got a couple of x's here, negative 4x, 95.4x. Use a calculator if you need to. That's 91.4x. And then I've got this minus 180. And that's your answer. So this is a twist that's been coming up more and more recently. If they ask you for profit, and it'll usually even say in the problem, profit equals revenue minus cost. So you take the R of X expression and you subtract the C of X expression. And again, to subtract or to multiply, we distribute and then we combine like terms. So a lot of little pieces to this lesson. We didn't even do a straight up adding example because it's very straightforward. To add, you just combine like terms. To subtract, from comes first. If you see the word from, and then you distribute the negative. Multiplication is box method. Squaring means multiplying by itself, so it's box method. Dividing, you divide everything on top by the bottom. And if they ask you for profit, profit is always revenue minus cost. Practice this up. We're going to be using this for the next lesson. And that's all I got. See ya.